Today is Thursday, March 16th, 2017, and today we got to talk about a story that's been blowing up over the past few days. Now, I didn't really want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I kind of want to stay far away from it, but I've been getting so many requests, so many emails. And shout out to my man Terrence for sending me the email that kind of pushed me over the edge to do this story. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about the Michael Brown so-called new surveillance video from the convenience store. Now, if you don't know who Michael Brown is, I'll give you a brief overview and or a reminder. I think it might have been in 2014, 2015, you had Michael Brown, young black male in Ferguson, Missouri, who was shot and killed by an officer named Darren Wilson. It was this whole big riot, her big kerfuffle around that, a whole big brouhaha. You know, they tore down their own neighborhoods, they're burning up stuff. It's what kind of kicked off a lot of the riots that have been happening in the USA over the past 2 or 3 years. Now, there was a video that came out of him robbing a convenience store before he got into the altercation with the officer. And that has been brought into question by more video that's been released from that same, a few days or whatever. I think it might have been the night before he died. It was some other video that had not been released. Now, the video was not released because whoever was behind the investigation, the police, FBI, etc., they thought that it was not relevant to the investigation, but somehow, some way, a guy, some random white guy, we'll get to a little bit later, he was able to obtain this video and then put it into a documentary. Now, this guy is the biggest cuck I've ever seen in my life. And I don't even really like using that word, but this guy, if you were to look in Urban Dictionary or a Real Dictionary and you see the word cuck, his face would appear. This guy is really a big fat mess. But I can't really tell if he is just a cuck for real or if he's like a cuck for play. But I digress. I don't want to get too vulgar, but you understand what I'm saying. He may not really be that. He may just be pretending to be that way to get money, to take advantage of the situation that's going on, to take advantage of the black community and our emotion behind the whole Michael Brown incident. Now, a lot of what I'm saying may not make a whole lot of sense, but what I'm going to do right now is play the clip from this so-called documentary where the guy is presenting a different side of what happened. Because like I said, before we get straight to the video, to give you a recap, there was video that was released of Michael Brown strong arm robbing the store for cigarillos before he got into an altercation with the police officer, in which the police officer, Darren Wilson, shot and killed him in Ferguson, Missouri. So this video is set to debunk the first video that has been cited as his, a representation of Michael Brown's character as somebody that could be violent and could do things that put him in harm's way, as somebody that could be a criminal, even though that's not really why he got killed. But I'll get to that a little bit later. So without further ado, go ahead and roll it.
In the early hours of August 9th, just 11 hours before Mike took his last steps, he went to his local convenience store to make an exchange. Look carefully at the counter and you can see a trade is made. Mike gives the store a little bag of weed. You can see the employees smelling it and passing it around.
There was some type of exchange for one thing for another. That these people know each other well enough that this is the relationship that they have.
Then you can clearly see Mike being given 2 big boxes of cigarillos. The store clerk puts the cigarillos into a bag for Mike with his other stuff and hands it over the counter. Mike is about to leave the store, but decides to have the clerk hold his things behind the counter for him. The next day, with his hands politely behind his back, Mike goes back into the store to get his stuff.
It was a misunderstanding.
St. Louis County has written documentation that we found which shows they saw the 1:13 a.m. videotape, but they leave out what really happened that night in their report. Mike traded the store a little bag of weed and got 2 boxes of cigarillos in return.
All right, so you see that right there. Now, he paints this whole story about him being this gentle giant. He didn't do nothing. He didn't hurt nobody. He was just trading weed for the cigarillos. They were just hiding behind the counter until they got back the next day. And then he came in the next day. He tried to get the cigarillos and leave, and they thought he was stealing. That is a story they'll make. That is a story they're trying to portray, even though that is not what happened at all. First of all, anybody can look at this video from this guy and tell that it was chopped up and edited in a very deceptive way to make you think one thing, even though something else is true. Now, I'll get to the full video that happened a little bit later, but what I want to do right now is play this guy, Jason Pollock, talking to a Fox News anchor. I forget the woman's name, but I'll put that in the box below. But I want you to see how he's talking. Listen to this dude talk. Now, this video has a lot of views already, so I'm sure many of you have already seen it. But for those of you that have not seen it, I want you to see this and see how this guy is acting. And then we'll come back, we'll talk about that, and then we'll show the real video that this guy did not put in his so-called documentary. So without further ado, go ahead and roll that.
The FBI agents went down there. Eric Holder went down there.
To indict Darren Wilson? Darren Wilson? No way. You know how the system works. These cops get off every single time. Bob McCullough has been the prosecutor for over 2 decades. And for 23 years. Excuse me. Let me just finish this. For 23 years, according to the Washington Post, there has not been a prosecution of a single police shooting in St. Louis County.
So you believe, hold on, now it's my turn.
Single one of them, none of them are indictable?
It's my turn. You're suggesting that 40 FBI agents were all in cahoots. I'm suggesting
the Department of Justice failed.
That this person was not indicted. Listen to me.
They failed.
So it's not possible in your brain that what happened there was what was found by both a grand jury and 40 FBI agents. You're discounting. You're saying all of that doesn't matter. Their investigation is absolutely not true.
When the facts of this case come out, when the facts of this case, excuse me, miss, can I speak now? When the facts of this case come out in my film, Stranger Fruit, the real facts of this case, the facts of this case that Bob McCullough doesn't want us talking about, like the fact that Michael Brown was shot in the head and a bullet came out of his eye. Do you know how that would happen? When your head is down and there's a bullet in the ground. In their report, there's a bullet in the ground by Michael Brown's head. Now, how would a bullet go through here, out of his eye, and then get stuck in the ground?
What I know is that there were 3 different forensic investigations that were done that showed that he was shot in the front.
They failed him.
Everyone in the country was told this narrative that he was shot in the back, that he had his hands up and said, "Don't shoot."
You know how many black men are in jail right now? You know how many black men are in jail right now for nothing? Because the Department of Justice failed them? You know how many black men are in jail right now? Don't tell me because they closed the book on it. We're okay.
Okay, so you see how the guy was acting. Now, this dude, like I said, I can't tell if he's a cuck for real, if he's pretending to be a cuck, if he's a lunatic, if something's wrong with him. I mean, this guy got so red, he was this shirt right here. You know, I don't think it's possible for a black person to get as red as this dude got. He was about to blow a gasket. I mean, the vein right here in the center of his forehead was just about to explode. This dude needs medical help beyond just mental help, which obviously he's in need of if he's actually being himself and he's not acting. I mean, the physical stress on his body from behaving like that has got to be detrimental to him. I mean, you're talking about a heart attack. This guy can't be no more than 35 years old. So, you know, he's too young to be having that kind of stress on his back. That can really creep up on him when he gets to be later in age. And, you know, you can see what he was doing. Like I say, I can't really tell if he's acting or not because he was, you know, holding his shirt up that said Stranger Fruit on it. That's the name of his documentary. So I can't tell if he's trying to promote the actual movie, if he's having a nervous breakdown, if he's just a idiot, if he's kind of just off, if he needs mental help, or if it's all the above. I can't really tell what's going on, but regardless of what, I know one thing for certain and one thing for sure, he's trying to get the movie out there because you have the Stranger Fruit logo watermark on the footage that's been released, and then you got a shirt with it on, and then you holding it up in the interview. So obviously you're trying to get that movie out there. You know, I'm a marketer by trade, really. That's what I do by day. I know how to market things. I know how to get them out to a certain audience. So he's doing that. But at the same time, I could tell when somebody's just not quite right, when, you know, he can't get right, when things just ain't going all the way, when all the gears ain't really firing on all cylinders. But I digress. Let's get to the real video of what's going on. Now, this was taken from about a 30-minute presentation by the lawyer of the convenience store clerk or the store in general, where they show what the so-called documentary did not show. Like I said, you could tell that it was edited to give you a false sense of what happened. It was edited to make him, Michael Brown that is, appear to be the saint that could do no wrong. And the reason why it was edited that way is to try and say that him being shot by Darren Wilson was not required because he did not rob the store. Therefore, the police shouldn't have been called, and therefore he shouldn't have gone to altercation with the officer. So therefore, he shouldn't have been killed. But like I told you earlier, I'll tell you why he got killed. It was not because of the strong arm robbery. He got killed because he did not obey demands, right? He was charging at the officer. Matter of fact, there was eyewitness video release right when it happened. Now, if I could find that, I'll put it in the box below. But basically, somebody was on their cell phone out there right when it happened. This is a mostly black neighborhood. You could tell the person that was filming with their cell phone and the person that was talking were both black, and they see Michael Brown's lifeless body in the center of the road. And then they're discussing what happened. He said, yeah, Michael Brown was charging at him, and the officer kept shooting, but he thought the officer kept missing because he kept dumping his, his rounds into Michael Brown, and Michael Brown just continued to charge forward. So right there to let you know, hey, if you're charging towards somebody that's firing a gun at you, they have to keep firing until you stop charging. Because the first thing they say is freeze, don't move. If you move, then you might get shot. If you continue to move, if you continue to charge forward, what else are they going to do? The police are trained not to shoot to kill necessarily, but to shoot to end the threat. So if you're continuing to charge, they're going to keep on shooting. And it's just as simple as that. The strong arm robbery, that just led people to understand what kind of person you're dealing with. But in the documentary, they're trying to say, oh, he was a dope boy, not a thief, which makes it that much better. But I digress. What I want to do right now is get to the actual video of what happened. Now, I'm going to show you one of the 3 angles they had. I'm going to show you behind the counter. And it's going to debunk the whole narrative of the weed being exchanged as some kind of currency for the cigarillos and the soda or whatever he had. It's going to debunk that. And it's also going to show you what really happened beyond what this so-called documentary said. So without further ado, go ahead and roll that.
Okay. Now this angle is from behind the counter. You're looking out towards Michael Brown at the front. And we'll go up, and he comes to the counter at 1440. Yeah, we're a little late. Let's go back at 1440. It's the end of the night. The guys are ready to go home. It's 1:30 in the morning. They usually close at 1:30, but a few customers have come in, so they're hanging out, waiting. Michael Brown comes up. The first thing he does is he puts down the sodas. Okay, and the cashier going towards the cash register, and he's going to start ringing things up and putting them in bags. So see, he's grabbing the sodas, he's putting them in a bag. Now at this point he says, I don't want 2 packages of cigarillos. The clerk thought he meant they come in little 2-packs. So he's going down to get the little 2-packs. It turns out he says, no, I don't want the 2-packs, I want the big boxes of them. So you're going to see him kind of go through that. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Puts them back, and he goes up, and he's going to go grab the big box of the cigarillos. Okay, and that's what he's putting on the counter. And you're just about to see from this angle, there he goes. See him throw down the package of the little baggie on the, right there? Okay. Everybody. Now, yes, the guys pick it up, okay? They ask, what is that? One guy looks at it. He sniffs it. This guy comes up, says, what the heck? He sniffs it. What is it? Now, unfortunately, this is going to be a little bit, but you're going to watch as he moves across, you're going to see him put this back down onto the counter, and you're going to see his hand will be empty, and then he's going to put his hands behind his back just to kind of stand like that, and there's nothing in his hands, okay? So he's going to put it back down right there, and his hands are empty. Okay, and he puts his hands behind his back. It's back up on the counter. Now, we can't see it because this guy's in front of it. Putting the stuff into the bag. There we go. Now, this is the part you saw, just this little snippet right here in the documentary, putting the cigarillos in the bag. And then we cut away from. We never see the remainder of this. Okay? And I'm just going to kind of let this run. Look here. He's like, now he's at the register. Pay me. Okay? you're going to see him kind of go, you're going to see him say, get the heck out of my store. I'm not taking that. See, get out of my store. I'm not doing that. No, okay? It's not going to happen. You're going to see Michael Brown. Now, he gets frustrated. Bam, he walks away. Okay? Nothing was exchanged. He didn't pay for the merchandise. He was angry. And now watch, he's going to say something, and everyone's going to turn and look to him because he says, hey, bring the stuff back. See? Hey, bring the stuff back. And this guy right here just told him to bring it back. He comes back. He puts it on the counter, and it's at this point that he then grabs the pot back from the counter. Okay? Now, they're going to argue about this for a little longer. Okay? He's got it in his right hand right there. See? He's arguing. What do you mean? What do you mean you won't do that? He's saying, no, I'm not going to do it. They're trying to ignore him. They're trying to be nice. And out he goes. Okay? Now, if this were a layaway, watch what the clerk gives him the kind of the wave off, probably some language. But if this were a layaway, he'd put the bag aside. Okay? Just say, put it under the counter. He's going to be back for it. See, he's kind of saying, I don't know what the... He takes that, he restocks it. He takes the 2 bottles of Vest soda, he gives it back to that guy. He goes and puts them away. And that's the transaction. Now, then he's going to go from there, and he's going to decide, you know what, I better go see what the guy was doing. He wasn't very happy with me. And there he goes.
All right, so you see that. So I don't really see what more needs to be said. I think it's pretty much cut and dry. I think that pretty much solves it right there. Shame on this dude, whatever his name is, for trying to dig up old wounds. He said he was in St. Louis for 2 years recording this or trying to get this documentary done. He did not interview anybody from the store. He did not do his due diligence. He just talked to people that were able to get him footage that he was not privy to before, or that we were not privy to before, to try and cut it up and make it appear one way in a way that it was not. He doesn't care if his documentary causes more violence in the black community. Man, you out here with your fists up talking about black men has been shot, has been killed, but do you care about the black men that will be shot and that will be killed when you have these ghetto areas that so-called uprise and feast on each other? Do you care about that? Do you care about all the black lives that are lost every day by other black people? Do you care about that? I can't tell. Like I say, you might be the world's biggest cuck or somebody pretending to be that to try and get money. And shame on you. You're trying to take advantage of people and their emotions to try and get money. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And beyond just the emotion, like I said, you're going to cause problems. You're going to cause problems in the black community. You're going to cause problems in the United States. And you're going to make us look bad internationally. People see that and they say, oh, America, that's where black people get shot and killed by police every day. That's pretty much what happens. And there's, and there's no other way around it, even though that's not true. The reality is you got a higher chance, not a higher number, but a higher chance of being killed if you are a white person by police than if you are a black person, because it's a fear of being able to police properly when you're in the black area, because you don't want to be accused of being a racist and thrown in jail for the rest of your life when you don't deserve to. That is the reality. And that's why I'm making this video right now, to get the message out there, to get that point out there, so everybody that's watching me understands it. Don't listen to these people, this fake news, this random lunatic. Don't listen to him. Listen to a guy like me that actually comes from these areas and understands how they operate. The police brutality is not an issue in the black community. I repeat, police brutality is not an issue in the black community. It is low-hanging fruit. People like this vulture, this disgusting human being, Jason Pollock, take advantage of to make money. They take advantage of to make black areas unstable for their own financial gain, for their own 15 minutes of fame. It's just that simple. So that's pretty much all I got. Again, I say shout out to my man Terrence for the video. I definitely appreciate it. I will put that full press conference from the attorney of the convenience store in the box below, so you're able to see that in full from multiple angles. You'll be able to hear him answer questions and a lot more. It was very informative. And I'll put whatever else I can find, this dude's documentary, this shameful, disgusting pig of a man. I'll put his info in the box. So if you want to send him a nice little message, you can do that. So that's pretty much all I got to say. What do you think? Do you think that this guy is who I say he is? Is he somebody just trying to make money off of black despair, trying to drum up old feelings, trying to dig at old wounds, to cause violence, to cause chaos, to cash in on it at the end of the day? Or do you think I'm some kind of apologist or something like that? I'm looking at the actual footage from the camera and not seeing what it shows. I mean, because like I said, this guy with the documentary, he chopped the footage up. But in the footage I have, in the box below, it shows you the footage without being interrupted. It shows you what really happened. So it's really just a matter of what do you want to believe? Do you want to believe the truth or what some guy has crafted for you to see, to take advantage of you and your emotion and your anger? Whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.